Welcome back to the Tipsy Ghost. We're your tipsy host, Blair, Linda, and Susan.
Hey guys, I was waiting for the spooky Susan. You just said Susan, so I was a little thrown.
I'm just impressed that I remembered because
You had to think about it. I saw you. It's us. It's Sarah, and Lindsey. In case you guys missed that.
As a payback,
Close enough.
this is what I have.
Oh, it's Big Abe in his big hand that's outstretched.
Big hand, big D. Democracy. It's Big
Big D for democracy. It's so disturbing. That's all I can fixate on. Big Abe.
You know what? When I listen
Mary
to that,
Tyler looks so mad.
Mary Tyler.
Mary Todd. Damn it. Mary Todd Lincoln. She looks so mad.
Mary Tyler Moore looks amazing. Really? Mary Tyler Moore.
What's the genetic disorder that they think he had? Something?
Marfan.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really sad, actually.
Why don't we not talk about that
Okay,
one?
Lindsey.
God.
Sorry.
Let's go back to his big
down.
hands.
That's why he had big hands, because he had a genetic disorder, you jerks.
Okay. Thank you.
This is our paranormal episode.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
You want me to spin the wheel?
I want
spin the
you
wheel.
to spin the wheel, because I'm excited about mine.
Not ours?
I'm excited about yours, too.
Oh, well, congrats.
Linda.
Yay! I get to go first. I am doing it on the Island of the Dolls
Okay.
in Mexico. Isla de los Muñecas.
No.
Nope.
Munecas.
Muñecas. I tried. Listen, I tried, okay?
Manukas.
I'm going to call it the Island of the Dolls. In case you didn't catch where that accent was, y'all, it's in Mexico. So it is south of Mexico City. There is an island that runs along a canal in Xochimilco.
What? So what?
Xochimilco.
Oh, okay.
Locals are not fond of this island because they say that it has bad energy due to the gruesome deaths from soldiers during the Mexican Revolution that occurred in 1911. During this time, obviously, a lot of people were dying, so they dumped all the bodies in the canals that ran along this island. Years later, they cleaned out the canals and found lots and lots and lots and lots of skeletons. Could not find an exact amount. So there was a lot of bad energy, they say, in that canal because of all of the bodies that were dumped there from the Mexican Revolution. The island is known because it has hundreds of terrifying dolls. Dolls that have severed limbs, decapitated heads, and blank eyes that hang from trees, which is pretty much the stuff of your nightmares.
Oh.
So they are there because Don Julian Santana Barrera, he was the caretaker of the island. And around 1950, he was unable to save a girl that was drowning in the canal. He was racked with guilt, and shortly after her death, a doll swam up to the shore, and he took that as a sign and began collecting dolls as a tribute to her and to pay respect to her spirit.
I'm sorry, a doll swam?
Like a doll came up to the shore.
A doll washed ashore.
Washed ashore.
Swam up to the
Whatever.
shore.
Washed ashore. So he began collecting dolls to pay respect to her body and to keep her spirit at peace. Some of his friends and family, like people who were closest to him, so he's passed on since then, but during that time, some of his family and friends were saying that he thought that the dolls were possessed by the spirit of the girl, so he continued to collect them. According to those closest to him, he was driven by some unseen force that completely changed him. He reported hearing, "I want my doll," by the little girl who died. So he did die, like I said, he's passed on. He died in 2001 of a heart attack, and he was found drowned in the same spot where the girl had died.
Oh.
Drowned?
Mm-hmm.
Like he had...
So he had a heart attack and then fell face down in the water and drowned, and it was in the same spot that the girl had been found.
No, the dolls did it.
100%.
So since he died in 2001, others like tourists, visitors, and locals, they continue to pay tribute to the spirit of the little girl by continuing to hang dolls. So that's why this island is still going on. Like, so basically he would go and find these dolls in like trashes, and like they were discarded dolls that he would find whenever he would go into town to get supplies. So that's why a lot of them look really rough, because they were Like he dug them out of the trash.
Their heads were shaved.
Okay, that one clearly looks like its head was chopped off with blood flowing everywhere.
So like literally decapitated. Like this one, it's just a
Red
doll's
eyes.
head with red eyes and blood like red painted down it. Another one.
That looks intentional.
Yeah, I think, like I said, since 2001, people have been donating dolls and
Yeah.
hanging them on themselves. So I think some people are
Sure.
probably having fun with this.
Yeah.
It's very creepy. So a lot of people are afraid of dolls. I don't know if you guys have this fear of dolls.
Mm-mm.
A girl that I grew up with, she had a severe fear of dolls. Like anytime we would see a doll, she would freak out. And so like every time we go to like a haunted place and we see all these dolls hanging around, I'm like, I think of her. I'm like, she would hate this so much.
I do not have that fear of dolls, although they are creepy.
They are creepy.
Yeah.
I don't have a fear of them, but I feel like this place would make me feel uncomfortable, especially at night. So legend claims that these dolls move their heads and arms and open their eyes to look at you.
Oh, hell no.
Yeah, I put in my notes, no thank you.
Yeah, no.
Some people who have come to investigate at night report hearing the dolls whispering to each other or a feeling of being lured by the dolls to come close. So some of these dolls, obviously these are old dolls. They do not have like batteries that are working anymore, even if they did have them in the past. Ghost Adventures went there, and at one point they did hear a doll laughing.
That is true.
And they investigated it, and like the wires were cut.
I think they had like some audio of that too. Yeah.
They did. So a lot of these dolls have like
Baby looks moldy.
they have mold growing on them because they've been out here for. I mean, he died in 2001. He started collecting the dolls in 1950.
I think this was a CPR baby.
This is 70,
Yeah, so why does he have a hole in his chest?
70 years. I think that's so a lot of them have holes like that. I think it's like the nails that they're driving through them to hang them.
Oh my god.
So these are 70
feel
plus
uncomfy.
years these dolls have been there. So yeah, they're moldy. They're out in the elements. So this baby doll has like black like mold spots all over it.
With
and
a cute little smile,
the
though.
eyes are just
I
staring
mean, he
at
probably
you.
would be cute.
When Ghost Adventures went out, when our favorite Zach went out, they brought Harold the doll with them
Yes.
because
I
they thought
remember.
that would be a good idea to bring a haunted doll to a haunted doll island.
Right.
It's like an hour-long boat ride down the canal. And so it's really like out in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
Like I said, they caught a doll laughing. They also caught an EVP of a scream. They also heard footsteps. And then like a fire started in this fire pit.
Yes.
That was not by them at all. And like I said, this is out in the middle of nowhere. It's like in a swamp.
Right.
It's what it kind of looks like.
Yeah.
So there was lots of unusual happenings. People report feeling unwelcome. Tourists literally just come here and hang baby dolls.
Ugh.
It's terrifying in the day. Like when Ghost Adventure was there at night, I was like, I couldn't handle like all those eyes.
Not only are there like terrifying dolls there at night, but there are elements of nature in Mexico with giant ass spiders.
Yeah. Yeah. You're in the middle of the swampland down this hour-long canal ride to the nearest town.
My gosh. And I think they showed Billy like out on a boat by himself, and
Yes.
he thought he was being shot at one point.
Yes. So there's no caretaker there anymore. Like nobody really takes care of the property from my understanding. It's just people come and donate the dolls and that's it.
I wonder if anybody from his family's taken over, or like from a historical, like, I mean, it's got enough population now, you know,
Mhm.
from
It's pretty much like
Popularity, I
a
should say,
tourist
not
attraction. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a tourist attraction. So I don't know
Right.
if the city takes over for it or what, but
they should totally charge for that. I mean, like, if they
you
want to make
can
money,
you can go there during the day for tours. Mm-hmm. So
There he is.
that is my Island of the Dolls. There's not a lot on it, but there is some creepy stuff there, and it's a creepy place in general.
Totally.
And I just think it would be a fun place to go to, guys.
I'm gonna go.
It's isolated, and it looks like a fun place as long as you don't have crippling fear of dolls.
I don't have a crippling fear, but like moldy dolls with rotted eyes and their heads on a spike, that looks a little spooky.
So I don't know if I've ever told this story. When I was in 6th grade, we were having it was a friend's birthday party or something, and we were all hanging out in her, she had a pool in her backyard and then like a pool, it was like a pool house that was just like a hangout spot.
Okay.
So we were all hanging out there, and she had like one of those dolls that was in like the walkers that walked, you know?
Uh-huh.
And it had no batteries in it. She said it was broken, so she had taken the batteries out, and it started laughing Like when we were all like talking and just like ignoring it, like not even paying attention to it.
That's when those things happen, man.
And it started talking and it literally took off and like ran into like the couch or something. Yes. And we like opened it and was like, there's no batteries in here. And like closed it back up. And we're like, this thing is crazy. And made sure it was turned off. And then it laughed and ran into the wall again.
Lindsey.
I'm sorry. So you witnessed this.
I did. It was crazy.
And you're still trying to tell me that there's no such thing?
It
It had no batteries.
had no batteries in it and it was turned off.
You saw it. You heard it laugh, and you saw it run into things.
I heard it laugh and saw it run into things.
Okay, I'm not even going to say
But the
anything.
paranormal is a
I'm
hoax.
just done. I'm just done trying to be like, Lindsey.
All right, I'm going to spin the wheel.
I'm just saying that's my weird, creepy doll story.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, you two.
It is I.
Blair and Susan, I don't need your negativity, okay?
All right. Are you ready to go to Mississippi?
I am ready to go to M-I. Crooked letter, I. Crooked letter, I. Humpback, I. Why are you staring at me?
What?
Did you never learn how to spell Mississippi that way?
Yeah.
No.
MISSISSIPPI.
Yeah, fun story.
Crooked letter.
Like the only diary entry I ever remember writing is, Dear Diary, look how fast I can spell Mississippi.
Did you say it like that?
M-I-S-S-I. Yes.
Yes.
M-I-S-S-I-S-S-I-P-P-I.
Did you? Are you sure you went to school up here?
You're just so cool.
And I'm like, talk tomorrow. Love, Sarah.
Talk tomorrow. Love, Sarah.
And then
I
they
need
never
your-
spoke again.
I need your diary, please.
That's it. You just heard it.
I didn't write too many things, but only things I was good at.
Like spelling
Dear
Mississippi.
Diary. Look how fast I can spell Mississippi. Yeah, you're welcome.
As you're writing it.
Yes.
Your diary knows how fast you're writing it.
Hey, listen, I was probably like, I don't know. I was going to say 10, but that feels old.
I was going to say, I'm very proud of you for spelling Mississippi correctly.
So I've heard
You?
people say that, but like I always learn like the fast way, like MISSISSIPPI.
Well,
So you've
Clearly
heard
I
the
did too.
crooked letter.
I've heard of it.
I have never heard of
M-I,
cricket letter.
crooked letter, I, crooked letter, I, humpback, I.
Did you not know S's and P's at the time? I'm so confused.
This is for
They have names.
crooked letters, and then
But like when you were
P's.
spelling other words,
Yes,
did
but
you?
that's just like it reminds you how many S's and P's and all of that in there. So you like sing it in your head. It's like a song. M-I, crooked letter, I, crooked
Isn't
letter,
that harder
crooked letter.
though than saying
It's
M-I-S-S-I?
so many more like syllables
It's
and
like
words.
a song. It's like a mnemonic device to help you remember.
Oh.
I'm very passionate about Mississippi.
Well, then I'm happy to take you to Mississippi.
Take me to Mississippi.
Let's go. We're going to the Mississippi house. So just a warning, this is going to be a huge spoiler to anybody who's going to watch this documentary in the future. The documentary is called The House in Between. And it is directed by Steve Gonsalves. Steve is a paranormal investigator, former police officer, public speaker, author, and now film director.
Well, Steve has a long list of things
Steve
on
is
his
a
resume.
badass.
Steve is a badass.
Yeah.
Look at you, Steve.
You most likely know him from the show Ghost Hunters. He's very well educated in the field, has investigated over 1,000 locations,
Oh, Steve.
and has worked with many other big names in the field.
Well, thanks, Steve. You are a badass.
He's now one of the hosts of Ghost Nation. So, all right, so this documentary takes place in Florence, Mississippi.
Okay, just south
It's
of
right
Jackson.
there, just south of Jackson.
Gotcha. Okay.
And this is where you're going to find the Mississippi house. I know it's not very, exciting of a name, but it is the Mississippi house. That's what they refer to it as. So Alice Jackson, that's her, in the bottom right corner, she's the homeowner. The interesting part about this story is that she bought the land and built the house. So Alice is a psych nurse and also a badass.
I love this.
Psychiatric nurse. Got it.
Yes, she seems pretty awesome. I mean, I've only seen her in interviews, but psych nurse, holla. I love you for that.
Okay.
So, like I mentioned, she was the original owner of the house. She says that the land before the house was built was covered with wildflowers and was absolutely beautiful.
That's a pretty house.
So she wanted an A-frame house with a loft
Looks like it.
Yes, built sometime during the 90s.
So it's a pretty recent house.
Exactly. She says that she started noticing bizarre things happening as soon as she moved in.
Interesting. Okay. Indian burial grounds?
No.
Oh,
So
dang it.
doors started slamming on their own, the doorbell would ring on its own, and items would mysteriously disappear and reappear.
Okay. Interesting.
So,
Frustrating.
right.
I'd
One
be
time,
pissed.
right.
Let's
A
hear
light
ghost.
tunnel came from the ceiling to the floor, and it was pitch black in the rest of the room for about 10 seconds, and then everything went completely dark. She felt a presence, like she was being watched after this in the home, and it completely scared her.
I'm sure.
From then on out, she decided she did not want to stay in the home alone at night.
And she built this for like herself,
She
right?
built this for herself.
Okay.
Yeah, so this happened to her, and nobody had lived there, which is kind of bizarre.
Right.
She knew that this stuff had been going on for years, but she stated that she didn't really want to say anything because everyone in town might think that she's crazy. So Florence, like we spoke about, is extremely religious, and it's part of the Bible Belt. The documentary interviews several of the residents, and they're all basically just laughing at the idea of ghosts.
That's
Sounds
too
about
bad.
right.
Right. They mostly keep to themselves and describe themselves as country.
That checks out.
Yeah.
In Mississippi.
So the local news caught wind of her story, though. She finally went to them and was like, after years. And they interviewed her. And after that, she felt much more open to talking about the situation at her home. So after this, a friend of hers recommended a local paranormal investigator named John Bullard. John, he set up a DVR system, and they have been capturing evidence for about 9 years.
Oh, long time.
In her house, right. So Brad Cooney, he is a fellow podcaster, and he joined forces with John Bullard after seeing a clip on the news about the house. And so this helped the validity of the evidence by bringing 2 different people from different backgrounds to investigate the house.
Okay.
So during one of the investigations, Brad and a friend were at the house alone and heard loud bangings / footsteps coming from upstairs. Brad was able to capture this on his cell phone, and it's included in the documentary. It was so loud that they almost called the police. They go upstairs, they clear it up. There's nobody there. So at 15:35, there's some other clips that are shown that have doors shutting on their own and objects moving on their own. So at 16 minutes, both John and Brad are mentioned that the lights turn off and on multiple times during their recordings, but they're most excited about the fact that they are teaching the spirits to communicate with them. For example, they ask them to turn the lights off and then the lights go out. This has happened several times, and the chandelier has also been captured spinning or swinging on its own.
Ooh, no thanks.
So at one point, John describes an incident where they were doing an investigation and he saw a flashing light happen a few times underneath the door frame. His cameras were actually able to capture that. So a local neighbor explains that she experienced a brilliant flash of light during a similar time that was unexplainable. And another local resident tells his story of when he was abducted by possible aliens. He remembers, this is his words.
Okay.
He remembers fishing near a river and seeing a bright light. Then he saw 3 robot-looking creatures come out of the light and take him on board while he was examined. Just as a side note, though, Steve Gonsalves, our friend,
Right, the
that is
badass.
the director, the badass, he does not feel that this is extraterrestrial. He feels that everything here is paranormal.
It's a portal.
It may be, but he feels very strongly that this is not alien related.
Okay.
Okay.
I won't say any more on that because I know Boydston will get mad at me.
Good idea.
So probably the coolest piece of evidence is this baseball trigger object. They put it on the stairs, which sat there for days. And then one night while no one was in the house, you can see the lights flicker, and then the ball just seems to roll off the stairs on its own. Since that first time, they've captured this same phenomenon about 9 times.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So Alice, the homeowner, she reached out to Steve for help, and it was the collective goal to bring in experts in all different areas to help figure out what's going on. They brought in contractors to ensure the house was level, which it is, an electrician to make sure that there was no faulty wiring, but everything checked out fine. And Steve even went as far as to interview 2 different physicists about why things are happening, mostly that they didn't have an explanation for why the ball was rolling down the stairs on its own. So they specifically asked the physicist about why that was happening. And they went through all different theories about maybe there's a magnet in the ball and on the door. And so they tested these theories and like punched the floor underneath to see if they could rattle it enough. And they even tried like an air pump behind the ball and they couldn't get it to roll.
Well, even if it was like a magnet, I think it happened more than once a year.
Yeah. Well, even still, they really did try that, but they couldn't get the magnet thing to work. The only thing that did halfway work was the air, and they had to get the can like right behind it. Okay. So they also explored different things like St. Elmo's fire, which is a phenomenon, I guess, that happens when static electricity discharges, but they ultimately ruled that out. They finally explored the theory that the house is built over limestone and that limestone can be a conductor of energy, which we've all heard of, I think, in the paranormal field. Okay, so then they brought in a psychic medium, and she mentioned several times that the door that led to outside was significant and felt that the spirit passed through that door was the one that they went in and out of. Okay. She also mentioned that the spirit was angry and he wanted to set fire to the property.
Ooh.
Right after she says this, you can hear the smoke detector chirp a few times on the recording. And a little background about the history. Florence had burned to the ground several times, according to residents. So towards the end of the documentary, Steve and his crew can be seen cleaning up their gear and getting ready to leave. And only one person's left in the house. And suddenly the baseball came down the stairs on its own. Luckily, they still caught this on camera, and while reviewing the footage still inside the house, they hear a door slam. They go to the different doors in the house, and they try to debunk the noise, but they were unable to figure out where it came from. So the baseball happens.
Gotcha.
And then minutes later, while they're reviewing the footage, a door closes, then opens, and then a separate one opens.
Gotcha. Okay.
Right?
So anyways, such an exciting documentary. I want to watch it right now.
Thank you.
I do want to watch it, yeah.
So yeah, just for the listeners, several weeks later, Brad was able to determine the source of the noise. He sees the reflection of the chandelier, one door opening and then closing itself, and then another door opening.
So 2 doors.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
It's 2 separate doors. And one door goes outside. And it was significant because the medium felt that that door was significant in her visions or whatever.
Could it have been a draft if the 2 doors were right there? That one opened and then the other one opened?
They tried to explore this. And so that's why I chose this, because I thought it was exceptionally done in their scientific data.
Right.
But, a draft would have closed it one way or the other.
Right.
But it likely wouldn't have closed and opened and then opened another one. I chose this topic because I thought it was a pretty cool haunt.
Yeah.
It was a newer one versus an old one. And I always get tagged in these like silly memes, which I totally laugh at and I agree with. They're like old-timey haunts versus like Britney Spears haunts, and I totally get that.
Right. I want to know like more about like the history of the land. Like, why is this place haunted?
There's so much more to the documentary, and I just didn't want to spoil everything. So you must go check it out. It's so good.
I'll have to look at it. So what is with the Mississippi house nowadays? Like, is she still living there?
She doesn't want to live there. She doesn't stay there at night. But she doesn't want to sell it because she's afraid that if she sells it, that, people won't actually try to figure out what's going on.
Right. Okay.
And she's really here to try to figure out, like, what's actually happening with this house and the land. So she keeps it, and she keeps people trying to investigate it.
So she lets people come see it.
But very limited.
Okay.
Not like an open investigation.
Right. Not
like it's her house, but she doesn't stay there at night because she's scared.
I mean, I don't blame her. I don't think I'd want to stay there by myself.
I don't blame her either.
It's interesting, though, because like you said, it's a new house.
Right.
She just built it. Like, it's pretty unheard of to have, like, a brand new house that was just built. The
next door neighbor, just FYI, I don't want to ruin everything, but the next door neighbor, who's lived there since she was 5, has had visions of seeing a dead body in the backyard buried there.
Interesting.
And she's an adult now. She's a history teacher. Like, she's an adult. But she still has hesitations about going over to the house. And they brought cadaver dogs. Like, they brought everything.
Couldn't find anything.
No, I mean, like, you just need to go check it out.
I will go check it out. Okay.
It's so good.
I have so
I just
many
didn't
questions.
want to ruin it all for you.
No, you're good. I have so many questions. So
Good. I'm
go
glad
check it
I
out.
sparked an interest.
You
maybe.
did.
No, thank you. That was
Thank you.
fascinating.
I have so many questions. Like I said, I can't wait to go home and research it more.
Mike's dad got me a little magazine from the History Channel called Haunted History.
God.
I love it.
That's perfect.
It is, and that's where I got my story from. It's super short.
That's wonderful.
Wait, is this like a monthly thing? Why are we not subscribed to it?
Haunted History,
it's-
can you
it's
head us up?
A special edition.
Ooh, okay.
So this is a cursed object,
Yay. Okay.
a vase,
Okay.
A vase?
a vase, the cursed Basano vase. So its story originated in the 15th century in Italy and has been passed down. So it's basically a story, maybe a legend, maybe a folklore, but I thought
love
it was
it.
pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
So the Basano vase is 4 pounds of silver and has a very simple design. It was crafted during the 15th century and was intended as a wedding gift. The legend says that the vase was given to a young bride on the night before her wedding, but she never ended up making it to the wedding because she was found dead the next morning clutching the vase.
Oh my God.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh,
That's terrible.
tragic.
It is.
Why are there so many... Pause. Why are there so many tragic stories about women on their wedding nights or like in bridal
Right?
dresses?
Maybe because
Yes.
they're like so emotional.
So there are some stories that say it was murder, and in her last dying breath, she promised vengeance. But since so much time has passed, like it was the 15th century,
Right, this is a long time ago.
that explanation can't really be corroborated.
Okay. But we assume.
Here we are. We just know that
I'd be pissed.
she died, and the vase was then given to another family member. But that family member also died almost immediately after receiving it.
Jeez.
So the family realizes like this vase is cursed and connected with the deaths somehow, and they hid it. And they hid it so well that it didn't resurface until 1988.
Oh, wow.
When it was dug up by an unsuspecting young man.
Long time later.
I was going to say, you said like 14th or 15th century, right?
15th century, yeah.
That's a long time, yeah.
For sure. So some versions of the story say that a note was found with the vase that said, "Beware, this vase brings death."
Ooh.
It was auctioned off without the warning note to
Oh,
a pharmacist for 4 million Italian lire? L-I-R-E?
Girl,
I don't
you're
know.
asking the wrong person. I don't know.
Which is the equivalent to like $2,500 US dollars.
Okay.
But the pharmacist died after 3 months. His family sold the vase to a 37-year-old surgeon who, you guessed it, died of a mysterious infection.
Let me
Oh
guess,
my
nobody's
gosh.
giving the warning label here.
No, it was sold without the warning label, so nobody has it.
Freaking warning
They didn't
labels.
know.
Yeah, by now people are aware of the curse. Nobody wants to buy it.
Right. They're like, no thanks, I don't want this vase.
A family member of the last of its victims is said to have tossed it out the window in an attempt to break the curse.
Oh.
But it almost struck a police officer when it was thrown.
Oh my
So
God.
the officer was so mad that he went on a mission to find whoever threw it. And when he found the guy, he fined him for littering. And the guy was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll accept the fine. I'll pay
that.
right now."
Yeah, I don't care.
But he refused to take the vase back, and the family turned it over to the state police to take care of. And they attempted to put it in a museum, but again, word had gotten out about the history, and no one would take it. So its final resting place is unknown, but it's said that the vase was buried in a lead box in the holy ground of a cemetery.
So
A cemetery.
nobody knows where this vase is.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I'm stuck on. What?
So don't go digging around.
Let's go make some TikToks.
Let's do
So
it.
check us out on TikTok because that's where we're going to be
You
after
can
this.
go to thetipsyghost.com and find all of our socials from there.
You can also email us at thetipsyghost@gmail.com with any of your stories, anything else you need to tell us. We want to hear everything.
Yes.
How was your day today? Please email us and tell us.
We want to know the things.
All the things.
Everything.
And give us a 5-star rating and a great review on Apple Podcast. We would greatly appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this week. We will catch you guys next week.
Okay, bye.
Bye.